Every now and then, while I'm watching a competition in any sport or tournament, I just know I'm witnessing something so incredibly special. So today, rather than just focusing on the highlights of the games, flashy mechanics, or anything along those lines, we will be doing a deep dive together behind the narratives of one of the greatest series in the history of League esports. Yeah, at the end of the day, the gameplay is what decides the results, and of course, we will be breaking down that too. But the narratives, the hype, the feelings are things that set the stage for results to even matter in the first place. Trust me, going over the most important narratives leading into this legendary series between FlyQuest and Gen G at the quarterfinals of Worlds of all places will help you appreciate it even more than you would otherwise. Before we get started, I want to give you a very quick disclaimer. Like the quickest disclaimer in the history of disclaimers, which will be quicker than this disclaimer about the actual disclaimer. Okay, I'm getting lost here, let me clear my head for a second. It's really interesting to me how some people thought I was an AI or something in my previous videos. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm just a human person. I reckon that's exactly what a non-AI would say, right? Anyway, I just wanted to tell you, I'm a fairly regular guy who loves to talk about esports and League of Legends, so that's why I'm here, and I'm assuming that's why you are here as well. At least I'm hoping so. My deep-seated love for League esports has been a thing for almost a decade now. Looking back, I remember a few moments I was lucky enough to witness that either completely changed my perspective regarding how I view competition in general on a deeper level, or just simple moments that were so hype I still find myself going on YouTube searching them up. If you excuse me, let me look up that SMAP Canon ulti from like 2016. I promise I will be back before you realize I'm gone. Seriously though, this has been a very long intro for a video titled The Greatest Upset That Almost Happened, but unfortunately did not, cause you already know. We will be talking about 2024 FlyQuest Worlds run. And oh boy, what a run it was. Being an old League head, I initially wanted to make a video about a story like how Faker lost his crown to Ruler only to take it back years later. You know, that kind of more mainstream story. Then I thought talking about something that happened a little bit more recently would be more fun, as it would be more fresh in our memories. So that got me thinking further. Looking back at 2024 as a whole, I reckon we all agree the biggest surprise in competitive League of Legends this year was that incredible quarterfinals between FlyQuest and Gen G at Worlds. Let me paint you a picture of the whole situation. After what most fans claimed one of the easiest runs in Worlds history, FlyQuest made it to the quarterfinals by defeating Team Liquid, who they already faced and got the upper hand against at the finals of LCS just a couple months prior to Worlds. Even though being a top 8 team in the world sounds good on paper, excuse me, I should say it sounds amazing on paper, if we turn back in time and ask people, do you think FlyQuest is one of the top 8 teams in the world? I'm 1000% sure most people would just laugh at us and say Fly just got a lucky draw. I don't know, and frankly, I don't care if they were lucky or not up until the knockout stage. But I do know one thing, their opponent when they got there was and is one of the best teams to ever touch League of Legends. Other than always sitting at top 3 if not the best team worldwide on LOL esports power rankings, Gen G has been regarded as one of the most consistent teams with only a few hiccups here and there in the last few years. While they are yet to find big success at Worlds, that still didn't make them likely to lose to FlyQuest by any stretch of the imagination. I also want to remind you, they were the reigning MSI champions going into Worlds, and they were the #1 favorites of many to win it all along with BLG. I feel like on a personal level, there is this almost poetic connection between Fly and Gen G. I know that may sound surprising, but hear me out. The gameplay differences between the two couldn't be any bigger, and we could probably classify them in that regard as exact opposites. I'm not talking about their overall performance, by the way. I mean that as in their understanding and the perspective they have for League is worlds apart. We have Gen G with the old reliable scaling comps played to perfection by their world-class players, especially Chovy, who is known as the Mr. Perfect, thanks to his insane CS numbers, mechanics, and lane dominance. On the other side, we have FlyQuest with Beepo and his craziness, always playing on the edge, a carry jungler in Inspired. On the mid lane, Quad, a Korean import who exceeded all expectations, and what could be considered a double rookie bot lane of Busio and Masu. Quad's story in particular, in relation to Gen G and Chovy, is basically like a movie. I stumbled upon this Reddit post right before the quarterfinals, and it talks about how Quad was one of the most hyped mid lane up-and-comers in Korea just a couple years prior to his move to NA. He was picked up by DRX around the same time as Chovy, so Quad was actually Chovy's substitute in that iteration of DRX. In 2021, after Chovy left DRX, Quad finally got his chance as a starter. But but let's just say he didn't necessarily have the best time in the LCK, leading to him retiring from pro play entirely. That is usually very tense for aspiring pro players who couldn't make the most of their first big chance. But Quad took a risk and decided to join FlyQuest Academy in North America. One of my absolute favorite storylines in League is how Scott forged his own path after leaving SKT's and Faker's shadow. He was just a backup player in SKT who found little to no time to play. However, after leaving for Edwards Gaming, he became a world champion and a legend on his own right. Every single time Scott matches up with T1, I'm like, oh, the protege and the old master, who is going to win? I just love it. The same kind of vibe was also present between Quad and Chovy, but I have to admit, most people wouldn't even give FlyQuest 1% chance of winning against Genji. That's why the fight they put up was so incredibly fun to watch, and that's also why the speech I'm about to show you hit so hard.
FlyQuest. A lot of people are counting you out, doubting you. But I want you to think about something. Every time you step on this stage, every time you face your opponents, you're not just playing a game. No. Whippo, you have to fight for every moment. With every ounce of sweat, with every breath you take.
Top lane, top lane! Meanwhile in the top lane, Whippo might just solo kill Showmaker!
Quad, when you go up against Genji, you're not just battling a team. You're battling every doubt you've ever had. Every setback you've ever faced.
Saka will not survive a double kill back over the Quad!
You're not just playing for yourselves. You're playing for each other. For every fan that believes in you. So take that energy and unleash it on Genji!
Okay, that's an amazing hype speech, but I was worried for Kobe, the caster who did this speech, because if FlyQuest really got 3-0'd like most people assumed, it would have been kinda cringe in retrospect and honestly for nothing. So, for that reason, I'm really glad 3-0 can't be further away from what actually happened. I think that is more than enough build up. Let's actually move on to the games themselves. With very low expectations, I was wondering what kind of approach FlyQuest was going to take in terms of their overall strategy. When I saw them utilize flex picks on the champion select of the very first game, I was like, hold up, let them cook. One would think FlyQuest needed some sort of clown Fiesta gaming to snatch off a game from Genji, and this first game was not looking like that at all. There was no fighting up until the first grab fight, and I promise you, everyone thought it was going all according to Genji's flawless game style. But well, Busio said no to that, no to Chovy, and Fly absolutely decimated Genji on the first team fight of the series. Chovy getting caught out right away and Beepo with the well-placed TP catching Keen's Rumble too, it left Genji's side with pretty much no potential to fight back and they had to disengage. Lehan's Leona tries to catch Quad in the mid lane, but Inspired is there to match with Busio on the way as well, so it's a 3 vs 3 but Jinx can't even get in the range to do anything. In the meanwhile, thanks to the top wave being pushed in, my god Beepo uses the Galio ultimate to join the fight to make sure FlyQuest comes out victorious from this one. Yet another fight breaks out in mid for establishing control and taking that tier 3 tower. It looks like Genji is not only able to defend but also successfully re-engage on Fly. Luckily, Masu with an on-point flash manages to survive at the last second. While it was quite close, both teams didn't lose anyone this time around. The next team fight though, Fly had much better vision setup, leading to them catching Genji off guard. Even in these favorable scenarios, it wasn't easy for Fly to gain the upper hand by any means. Genji fought back, and they fought back hard, just as what everyone would expect from them. Yeah, the Galio flash downs by Beepo is superb here. Even so, the ultimate by Kenyon could have been deadly, cause Jinx got that reset. Fortunately, the super long range slow by Quad Seraphine zoned that Jinx off, allowing FlyQuest to run away safely. By the way, these Beepo reactions were like so hilarious, and it was definitely the right call to keep showing him throughout the stream, so big up to your production team. Thank you. Anyway, FlyQuest engage on Genji once more with the Ashe ultimate. In reaction to that, Pace uses his glance almost perfectly, but that doesn't really matter since Beepo is there to catch him from the flank. Despite Beepo flashing on Pace, Kenyon just pulls the Galio away. Still, Pace is once again entirely zoned off from the fight. Sure, it's not an ace or anything, but Fly gets a nice kill for Masu, which is quite huge. The first Baron fight in this series finally rolls around, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Fly is ahead 4k in gold against Genji Genji at this point. To secure the Baron, Busio has to give some sort of a free kill to Jinx, but we take those, it's alright. Next up, the Dragon fight. The gold lead here isn't that huge, yet the team composition of FlyQuest proves to be much better when it comes to front-to-back team fighting. So they decimate Genji and make him move on the mid lane to finish the game. I still can't believe what I'm saying, even after such a long time since this happened. One thing was, and is for certain though, Fly showed up that day to win, not to just simply give up. Many people were shocked seeing Genji dropping even a single game to Fly, even though that was the case. Except for a few NA believers, most people were still thinking that Genji would be able to breeze through the rest of the games fairly easily. The pick and ban phase of the second game showed it very clearly. Genji understood what FlyQuest couldn't properly do in the first game, and that was pushing leads early on, cause remember, Fly was ahead pretty much the whole game, but it still all came down to the team fights. So, scaling options from Genji definitely made the most sense for them. The Kassadin pick from Chovy was kinda shocking, sure. It still did not even come close to the hype of the Nuna pick by Inspired though. Just so we are clear, okay? I don't necessarily want to skip over this game quickly, however, when you give a super early kill like this to a Kassadin, what you can do in the game is very limited, you know? Especially if that Kassadin is Chovy of all people. FlyQuest tried their best, yeah, nevertheless, both Canyon Nidalee and Chovy Kassadin being extremely ahead is kinda like a nightmare combination. I think that is proven by how it only took 27 minutes for Genji to close this game out. Picture this and try to understand what FlyQuest must have felt right after losing this game. So, you are Fly, the #1 seed from NA. You are doubted, discounted, made fun of for a quote-unquote easy run to the quarterfinals, and you get a win on the first game, that's quite good, but then you are not able to show up in the second game like you did in the first one. Everyone will assume that first game was just a fluke, and this series was always bound to be a stomp. 3-0 or 3-1, no big difference, right? Well, the non-believers are terribly wrong, as you will see in the third game. What you are seeing right now might be the most satisfying dive defense ever, executed to perfection by Fly, and I don't even have the words to describe how great of a start this was for them. The Beepo TP, him taking that risk to get here, Masu and Busio just playing to perfection as I said. Kai'Sa getting that double kill with her Q, like it is just chef's kiss. Of course we had to get our Beepo reaction after this, come on. Here is another kill for Masu in the form of a dive. Mind you, that is 3 kills for Masu in under 7 minutes. He is definitely going to hurt with his damage. Genji punch back on the top lane as Beepo gets chain CC'd and can't even move. That's okay, no problem. After Keen secures the tier 3 bottom tower, Beepo and the rest of Fly don't let him get away, and that's a crucial kill for Quad. The next play Fly makes, or I should just say forces on the top side, end up not working out. I personally think it's the exact type of aggressiveness they need to keep Genji on the edge, you know, so I would call it a good try for sure. Now, it's time for those sweet gold in the hands of Quad and Masu to do the work. Just check this out. Incredible movement by Quad to dodge all of those skill shots, staying alive until the rest of Fly is there to fight back. Inspired as Skarner moves in and lands the stun. Unfortunately, his ultimate only catches one. As you can see, both junglers are so extremely tanky, they keep hanging on, tanking absurd amounts of damage. Masu here completely takes over though, cause look at that uptime he gets on Braum. He uses his ultimate to make sure he doesn't miss that kill. Although it's a very close game still, Masu now has 4 kills to his name. Believe me, that will have consequences for Genji. It's been over 10 minutes I'm sure, and we are finally approaching my favorite moments. For the first time in this video, I want to not commentate and just let you experience it with the amazing casting by Captain Flowers. I sincerely feel like the hype in these select few moments can't be replicated, so let's go.
Canyon's behind him. Canyon coming in. Genji making their move. Inspired's gonna be the target here, but he tries to force the enemy front line back. The Skarner's locked up in the front. He's gonna get beat down. The Sterix ain't gonna matter yet again. He drags 2 back. Into the back line goes Chovy. Inspired flashing away to barely stay alive, but now Whippo's gonna be in danger as well. The first kill is going over to the stolen ulti, and Chovy puts Whippo in the grinder. Now Pei's gotta be careful. There goes your Void Seeker. Pei's still getting away for now. Masu trying to fire a few more of these off. Quad and the rest of FlyQuest trying to get at least a little bit of mid lane pressure here. They're down a man. They gotta be careful as they continue retreating. Inspired went back to the base to heal, but now Masu's gotta be careful. There's your use of that cleanse from the McHales. As again, Genji continue to chase, but Masu's unstoppable. Lehen's went in too far. Sap shoots out of the wall, and Key's gotta be careful. So much pressure, but it's not enough. Masu cuts them down. Oh, ye of little faith. Believe in Masu and the AD carry. Chovy still trying to escape. He dashes back over the wall. Chovy, he damages him with the grenade over the wall. Chovy's death is going to be certain. It is going to be delayed.
Just freeze frame here, okay? That is my reaction. That is my reaction to this fight, to this game, to this series, to what FlyQuest has achieved. That is exactly my reaction. Nothing more, nothing less.
They both take placement in the mid wave. They contest, and here we go.
With the flash disdain, Canyon's gonna be your target here in the front, but a nice counter-attack coming out from Chovy. Beautiful stolen Skarner ulti. Isn't it enough? Masu's low. Killer Instinct to give him the shield to try to stay alive as Keen dives into the back line, and Whipple's already gonna be killed. Top for top, 1 for 1. Masu, legendary, but FlyQuest, they've got to be careful about this one as they continue DPS here with the Baron. Canyon and King gonna step up. Masu's already under pressure, and immediately Boostio was about to die. Keen's gonna get bursted into the front line on the other side, and Masu stays alive. He's still firing, still fighting. Quad pushes forward, goes to the killing spree. 4 versus 3, but Pays fights back. A beautiful shutdown over the Ezreal as Whipple jumps into the stain. Pays goes into the stratosphere, and Masu goes legendary. FlyQuest just killed everybody but Canyon.
FlyQuest can just two-man this while the rest of them look to block out Gen.G from responding.
Masu does a ton of damage to this objective all by his lonesome. Canyon would lead the charge for Gen.G. Chovy has lost a good chunk of HP here in the approach. The FlyQuest squad just trying to buy a little bit of time to secure the Baron, but Whippo might die. Quad going in for the lightning crash. Gen.G are dying. FlyQuest have already killed everybody. FlyQuest will push Gen.G to the absolute limit. They will take a 2-1 lead.
A 2-1 lead indeed. A 2-1 lead. Imagine that. Against the favorites to win it all. Against the favorites who everyone said would just stomp FlyQuest and it would not even be close. At the end of the day, we all know it really was super duper close. I know this is going to be kind of anticlimactic, but I can't find it in my heart to cover the last 2 games. Cause even though there were moments FlyQuest managed to shine, Gen.G just played better and turned the series around. What I really want to say is that still doesn't take away anything from Fly, and the fact still stands. They almost pulled off the greatest upset in the history of League of Legends. For that, they deserve all the praise in the world if you ask me. We all love an underdog story, right? Mainly because they make us feel like we can achieve things people count us out for. Even when you don't believe in yourself, seeing someone achieve their goals and dreams can be the thing to help you get to yours as well. I love this whole saga for that reason. If you made it this far, please comment White Weepo Worlds 2024 so that I know you are the absolute realist. I deeply appreciate you spending your time here, and I hope you enjoyed the journey I took you on today. Please do subscribe as it helps me out in such a major way. Oh, also, do not forget to take good care of yourself until the next time. Bye bye.